Okay, guys, this is going to be a short broadcast, but I'm going to cover a couple of basic topics. One is going to be the fact that the United States is now shut down, or at least due to their sanctions, shut down RT America, which is a news outlet. Yes, they do have Russian ties, but I will state this. Don't you wish to know both sides of a story, or do you only want one? So, yeah, they've done that. And in my opinion, and this is all in my opinion, except for what they actually have done. Uh, if they're going to shut down other news outlets, regardless of the situation, they're probably going to be getting ready for World War III because if you look at all American news outlets, they're pushing for war. RT, which was a Russian one, was the only one not pushing for war. So, due to the fact that they did that, I believe in free speech too, and I believe that free speech is dead. I truly do. I believe that in the United States, free speech is dead. They've imprisoned Julian Assange for doing what he does as a publisher. Um, they've censored a lot of people on here. If you talk about the wrong thing, you could get censored on here. And now they've sanctioned RT News, whether you like the Russian network or not. They've sanctioned it to the point of where they're no longer here in the U.S., which is against freedom of speech. I mean, I'm sorry, but I do believe in hearing both sides of the story, you know? Now, when it comes down to it, um, they've done that, so I do believe they're preparing for war. If you actually look at the United States, all they've ever done is lie to us. Um, for example, I know we're going to war, in my personal opinion. Um, anyways, like I was saying, when it comes to my personal opinion, I believe we're going to war. We when they said weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, it was just an excuse to get into Iraq. They've made excuses in Syria, all these other places, and you can't say that the United States is actually against another country bombing another country at all, because if you look at Saudi Arabia, very good for that. Keep it up because you're going to need it. So, like I said, uh, countries like Saudi Arabia, which have been bombing other countries, at least one country, can't remember the name of it. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can look it up. And literally killing thousands of people, meaning mass genocide. And that's Saudi Arabia. And we still send them weapons, along with Britain and a lot of these other countries. I also believe this is going to be the Great Divide. Um, since you're prepping, I suggest keep it up because the Great Divide is what I'm calling it. And that basically means that a lot of countries are going to divide with their financially divide with the United Nations and NATO. For example, I believe that right now India is kind of on the verge of that due to some of the things that have happened, like man, like India has a bunch of students that were in Ukraine, and the Ukrainian authorities were treating them students like crap because India took no stance on this in the United Nations. and Russia's been working on getting them out of there to get them back home to India. I believe it. I don't really rely on Visas or MasterCards. One of the things I will mention, if you want to be able to do business or be able to do stuff, I suggest gold, silver, and cryptocurrency. I know some people don't like cryptocurrency, but take a look up at Canada. What did crypto do for them? Quite a bit. You have Venezuela, which is now backing Bitcoin 100% due to the fact that they made it their legal tender. So Bitcoin is Venezuela's actual legal tender. So people purchase and buy things all the time with it, and that is the money of Venezuela, or not Venezuela. Sorry, let me rephrase that. El Salvador. I don't know why I called it Venezuela, but El Salvador, and it is that. Yes, people are panic buying. However, I will tell you about 2, 3 weeks ago, Russia did recognize cryptocurrency as a, what do you call it? Not tender, but as an asset. And since it recognized it as an asset, it is a way that they're thinking of possibly getting around the US dollar. One of many ways. No, not if you are, not if you're prepared for it. There are ways to actually prepare your cryptocurrency for it, and you can use a ham radio to do it. It might like pause it, but it wouldn't actually, I mean, it would affect it. Let me rephrase. It will affect it, but it wouldn't, it'd be like if your power went out in your house. Okay? Once you got back on the system, you got to realize they would have to EMP the whole world for that to mean anything. Um, I mean, I'm not saying that's not possible, but if it goes to the extreme, what's this? Say value your life? I don't know. But like I said, if you're talking about uh like an EMP and just over the United States, once you get power up and running again, you're good for it. And there are things like, say, okay, there are certain precautions you would take. Like, I would only keep a small amount, which they tell you that now in Bitcoin. When you go to like Coinbase or the Cash App to purchase Bitcoin, only keep a small amount in there. Keep everything else on a hard wallet. Well, you can do a Faraday cage for your hard wallet. You can, and realize it's very small, so it's very easy to do that. Another thing you can do, and you won't even need a Faraday cage for it, is there's a hard card. Okay, this allows you to basically have your cryptocurrency on a card with no technology. You can basically they're called some. You basically take what the original idea was called a paper wallet, which is they took the UPC and they printed it out on a piece of paper. There's no electricity there. What I would suggest is doing what's instead of that, and you could purchase these too. Um, is you could go on and you can take your what we call a paper wallet, and it gets printed onto a piece of metal. Okay, that way it's fire resistant and everything else, but it works the same as a paper wallet, if you understand what I mean, where you can scan it in. Uh, but yeah, I honestly think cryptocurrency is the way to go. Even if they shut down the internet, you can use ham radios and a lot of other ways to actually transfer it. I actually showed this to John once. To transfer, purchase, and buy throughout crypto. And like I said, unless the entire world goes down, it'd be minor effects. Well, I was saying earlier, the United States has committed wars and acts of terrorism in multiple countries throughout the years. We actually admitted to overthrowing or helping overthrow the Ukrainian government in 2014, which is my opinion has led to this. And I'm putting my opinion because somebody thought it was fact the other day. And some of what I'm talking is fact, but I put it as my opinion just so I don't have to deal with that. Like the fact that the United States government admitted that they overthrew that. We have committed heinous acts since the days of the Indians. Okay. I will state this for Russia. This is my personal opinion. I'm going to down Russia on this one. Okay. When Russia originally gave the agreement, okay, to not have the United States or NATO come, or NATO to be exact, come any closer to Russia, and of course NATO broke that agreement, and everybody goes, well, they didn't get it in writing. Well, here's my thing. It's kind of a little bit of a defense for Russia, and it's a little bit of a like, you stupid idiots, why did you even bother making this deal type deal in the first place? And I think, why even bother making the deal in the first place? Because in Russia's case, just take a look at the Native Americans and every other deal and treaty we ever broke. And they had that shit in writing in a lot of cases, and we still broke it. You know? Let's take a look at the Native Americans. Trust the United States? I know some people are a big fan of Donald Trump that come into this room, but I will tell you, it's still, he broke an agreement when it came to Iran. Iran actually kept their end. He even said it himself. He just didn't like the agreement. Well, how can people trust the United States at that point? Don't get me wrong. I'm okay for, us going after bin Laden. And I'm okay with all that. I'm not okay with us going into all those other countries, committing acts of terrorism and bombing all those other people. It's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black. You know? Which really makes the United States government terrorists. And we don't just do it to other countries, we do it to our own people. Flint, Michigan had a water issue. We poisoned our own people. And we slapped a little fine on the wrist for the people that committed murder and made people sick. If that was somebody who was poor like me or the average person, like you guys, unless one of you out there that watches this later is like a big mayor or something like that. But the average person, if we do that, if we had all good intentions but cheaped out on something that caused people sick in a business, we would be in a lot of trouble. Matter of fact, we would get at least, second or third degree manslaughter, not a little, fine and be told to fix it. take a look at the United States Navy. Um, just this last December, it came out that we had naval officers and locals that were being poisoned because the Navy cheaped out on holding their fuel consumption. And they didn't even tell anybody until people were getting too sick that people actually ended up into the hospital. And I think a few people even died because it went into the water supply. People were getting burned by taking their showers with water mixed with jet fuel. And this is in Hawaii, which is part of the United States. So yeah, the United States government is extremely corrupt. It's gotten to the point where if you are on the news, and not just RT but other things, if you're on any station, take a look at Jesse Ventura, for example. Jesse Ventura wasn't always on RT. Jesse Ventura, at one time, I can't remember what it was. It was on MSNBC or one of those channels, or I can't remember. Was it Fox or something? But this was back in the beginning of right after 9/11, and he stated he was against the war, and he wouldn't back down on it. They paid him, like, I can't remember the exact price, but it was like $500,000 or something, just so that they could remove him from their contract because they weren't going to let him go on. It's gotten to the point where they're just shutting people down now. Joe Rogan was shut down. Joe Rogan, I don't really care for Joe Rogan. I've listened to him maybe once for 5 minutes here and there, because somebody insisted I watch him. Just to check him out. I don't care for him. Don't have anything against the guy, but I'm not a fan of Joe Rogan. I just don't care for him, which is my right. So what do? You change the channel, don't watch it. In this case, I might not like him, but I'm more apt to watch him now that they took him off. I mean, it's censorship. It's criminal censorship. Completely against the freedom of speech. And the reason in my opinion, the reason they're doing violations of the freedom of speech of the First Amendment with all these different people, and those were just two examples, there are many, is because they want to hide their acts of terrorism, their illegal acts. That's my personal opinion. For crying out loud, the United States government, the only place I heard about this, and then I had to do some deeper research about this after I heard it on RT, which was Russian state media, was that a few United States soldiers, our soldiers, came out and leaked information that the United States government this whole time was handing the Taliban money. Nothing ever happened to the politicians that approved this. And other than a little bit on RT, you don't hear about it. And now you don't hear about it at all. It's hush-hushed. We paid terrorists to kill our own troops. Either way, I went on a little bit of a rant. 19 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to head out myself. You have a good one. Thanks for watching. Hopefully other people will see this. Sal and Prepper signing out.